one. More than anything else, they're waiting for an animal to go down into the water with them. Either to have a swim, in our case have a fish, use the water for recreation, not a ripple, not a bubble. You would have no idea there was a large saltwater crocodile approaching you if this was their favourite water type. And check him out as he approaches, keeping in tune with where my feet are. Come on, mate. Come on, there we go. Can have it? Come on. I'll tell you what, good work, Scrapper. Does anyone have a spare pair of undies? Lordy. All right, now, I'll see if I can't get him to, look at that. I'm moving away from him, I'm going to his water, and he wants to come over to tell me to get out. Not only are they fantastic at hunting, they're fantastic at kicking other animals out of their territory. Out of the 27 species on the planet, salties are the most territorial by far. I'm going to get quiet here because with a flick of that tail, you can hit that fence in one go. Come on, big fella. Oh, no, up here, up at the foot. Come on. Have it. Nice work, Scrapper. You can give it up for him, he's an absolute weapon. Yeah. Now, the jaw pressure. That's what we're really afraid of with these guys. Opposite to the Komodo with their really sharp steak knife teeth, blunt peg-like teeth, but the jaw pressure behind it is phenomenal. He's got over 3,000 pounds per square inch closing pressure at the back of his mouth. Car crushers at the tip, which crush a car into a little cube, they run off 2,500 PSI. He's got more than that in his mouth. Now there's a couple of good strikes from the water's edge, but Hamish will show us another spot where they can get some tucker.
Absolutely. Now, absolutely, you've seen Crocs strike out of the water horizontally, and that's normally what we think of Crocs is doing, is waiting at the water's edge for animals to come down for a drink. But the first method that Crocs often use to catch themselves a bite to eat is a behaviour we call the tail walk. Now, Scrapper wasn't always this big. When he hatched out of the egg, like all Crocs, he was only about the size of a 30-centimetre ruler. And at that size, he's much more likely to be a bite to eat for another animal, whether it be a bigger croc, snakes, lizards, birds, fish, you name it. And he will wait out in the reeds of the mangroves where it's safe, trying to hide. And he's got that waiting up his sleeve to strike out at little animals above and then go back down into the water where it's safe. Now, as they get bigger, they've got to find bigger food sources. So as crocs grow, yeah, he's keen today, as crocs grow, they'll be hanging out underneath flying fox colonies, maybe waiting under a tree overhanging the water's edge, and they'll be waiting for animals to come out and over. Even a fully grown croc has the power in their tail to launch themselves vertically up and out of the water. Now, if you see an overhanging tree, might be a nice spot to have a cup of coffee or read a book, but just be wary that people have been taken by that tail walking method before. Now, we're going to bring him around this side, get him back out onto the flat land, and we hear all sorts of stories and rumours and myths. One of the big ones is that crocs are fast up on land, but that is not true at all. In fact, crocs are an aquatic ambush predator. They live their entire lives in and around the water's edge. So much so that all you've got to do to be safe from crocodiles is not do what me and Jimmy have been doing. Don't go down to the water's edge. Right here, that's the strike range. Tip of the nose to the base of the tail. If you just go 4 to 5 metres back, you're out of the strike range of even the largest croc to ever exist. You'll never have a problem. Don't overhang the water. People have been taken by that tail walking method before. And lastly, just don't go swimming with saltwater crocs. Jimmy, can you hold that one for me? Let's have a look. Now, I'm a few metres back. Jimmy, we're about 4 or 5 metres back. Have a look at Scrapper's behaviour. He just sits there waiting and watching, just the top of his head, eyes, ears and nose poking up above the water. But if we just change a little bit, you go down to the water's edge, that's when he submerges. He goes back into that hunt and stalk mode. And if this was deep, dark, murky water, you'd have absolutely no idea that there was a croc waiting to do that. That's what he's built to do, the strike from the water's edge, not life up on land. Now we'll bring him up here. Hey, come on, mate. We'll bring him up on land. Now that strike is done, have a look at him. This is literally top speed for a saltwater crocodile. That's it, give it up for him. He's done such a good job. Now, You see the strikes and the swings at the water's edge, but once he's up here on land, he's actually really slow. He's not built for it. Now, I'm pretty confident that as long as I stay a little bit far away from him, I'm pretty safe, as long as I'm up here on land. Might even sit down in front of Scrapper. Lay down. Nothing. Now that is exactly because he knows, he's smart, that I'm faster than him. But if Jimmy goes further away and gets back closer to the water, look at the difference in his behaviour. Now that is his home, that is his territory, that is where he's been evolving to live, hunt, protect for over 250 million years. So this species is so critical to our northern waterways, and it's so easy to live alongside them. All you've got to do is just not go down into their territory, and when you keep yourself safe, you keep crocs safe. Because crocodiles, on the very odd chance that something does go wrong between a person and a croc, they get labelled as the evil, ugly monsters who were out to get us. But that's not true. It was always when somebody broke one of these really simple rules, and when we don't follow these extremely simple rules, we end up creating a conflict between us and crocodiles that does not need to exist at all. Now, Jimmy, you're about as fanatical about crocs as I've ever met anyone. What do you reckon?
Oh mate, they are the coolest species on the planet. And you know what, we're not pulling all this info to spread to you guys from thin air. For the last 20 years we've been working with the University of Queensland to head up to northern Queensland and catch crocodiles for research. We've currently got 258 salties in that research pool, and that's where we're learning. They can hold their breath for 7 hours at a time. Females will migrate vast distances from their feeding grounds to their nest